Hello, everyone. High five, people. You guys can say hello or you can just hang around. I don't mind. I appreciate you for stopping by. Happy Wednesday to you. 10 people, I appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you for coming along this walk with me. Just walking and talking. Today is Wednesday, so we're walking and talking. And let's talk about tics. With the news about TikTok being potentially banned, I think a lot of people have mistakenly think that it's written in stone, but it's not. It was only passed by the House. Only passed by the House. Before it becomes law, it has to go through the Senate, and it has to face a lot of hurdles and obstacles before it is officially banned. But just the news of it passing overwhelmingly in the House has some people wondering what's going to happen. What's going to happen? So let's talk about tics. We can talk about TikTok. We can talk about your tics. What makes you tick? What makes you tick? What things make you tick? What pet peeves do you have? whether things make you tick in a bad way or a good way. What things make you tick? Y'all tell me in the comments what things make you tick. And once you tell us what make you tick, tell us why. Sometimes there's not a reason. There doesn't necessarily have to be a why. Sometimes you just like certain things. Sometimes you just dislike certain things. The tank guy, hello. We're just talking about tics today. Tics. What makes you tick, whether it be in a good way or a bad way. If it's a good way, then what makes you tick? What gets you going and why? If it's a bad way, what irks your nerves? What grinds your gears and why? And maybe there's no particular why. Some things we just like, some things we just dislike. Also, tick, as in TikTok. What do you think about the United States government, trying to either force the sale of TikTok or ban it altogether? I don't think that's crazy to me. I'm not big on TikTok or anything. I see a lot of people enjoy it, and we all have the, hey Betty, hey retirement days. We all have the, you would think we have the right to engage in it, but I don't know, that right may be taken. But I think that we all have the, the knowledge. We all have the gumption to know if we, want to deal with a certain app or not. You can remove it from your phone. I don't think it's one of those apps where it just, comes automatically on your phone. I don't think it's a systems app yet. So whether you like TikTok or not, what do you think about the U.S. government? Some people say it's just them trying to crack down on China in any way, fashion, form that they can. And some people say it's just them, affecting one's freedom of speech and or expression. This case, mostly expression. But I guess you could say mostly speech too, because a lot of people do complain on TikTok. So if you think about speech and expression, TikTok is Chinese owned. So when they clamp down on your speech and your freedom of expression, that's not necessarily the U.S. doing that. But if we're going to talk about them getting rid of it or forcing the sale of it, let's talk about that. Because I really and truly don't think, how can you force the sale of something you don't own? Government, Congress, they have a lot of power. They do a lot of things. Some of the things that they do personally may, in certain people's opinions, may be illegal, or at the bare minimum, an infringement upon everyone's rights. So that's funny to me that what actually passed today actually passed in the House. So it is not law. It's not law, but it was interesting. It is interesting to see how many people what I've been getting is some people are upset. Some people are afraid that they'll lose TikTok as an option. For some people, it's a stream of income. So some people are afraid, just, even for those who just simply enjoy it, as entertainment. They're afraid they're going to lose that form of entertainment. Some people are afraid they're going to lose that resource of income. And some people don't really care too much about TikTok, but they do care about the freedoms that you have. And they feel like banning it or forcing the sale of it is infringing upon freedoms. So what do you guys think? And hello to everybody who comes here. Some of you guys, I will not know what you're saying because I'm in the United States and I don't speak any foreign languages. Well, I speak to a certain degree, but for most of the people who are coming in here, I don't speak your language. But I welcome you as long as you're being good, being on your best behavior, and you're positive. As long as you're on your best behavior, you're being good in the chat, respectful in the chat, and you're positive. Now, if I can't read what you're saying, I don't know if you're respectful or not. So YouTube, I'm depending on you to hold all inappropriate content or comments because you guys know exactly what everybody is saying. And on that note, I also appreciate you and thank you for sending the live out. Sending the live out. Somebody's getting in trouble, y'all. Somebody's getting into trouble. He's out here skateboarding. He hadn't done his chores. He's out here skateboarding and he hasn't done his chores. Have you guys done your chores for the day? Have you done your chores for the day? If you haven't, you better get on it. You still have time to do your chores for today. Does doing chores make you tick in any way? I know some people enjoy cleaning. It gives, it's a form of exercise for them. And at the same time, they're getting something done that's important. Again, thank you, Tank Guy. Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Nor Ezadon, I think. Nor Ezadon. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Thank you to anybody who's come across this live and spent a few seconds, a few minutes, or however long you've been here. I appreciate you. Always looking for new engagement, new positive engagement. So if you do something, tell us what you do, or you don't have to tell us what your occupation is. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you dislike. Tell us what makes you tick. Read the title. Tell us what makes you tick. But most importantly, the purpose of this live and every live that I do is titled Let's Walk and Talk. Those are the lives when I'm trying to get you guys up and out and moving. Up, out, and moving. Up, out, and moving. UOAM. UOAM, up, out, and moving. UOAM, up, out, and moving. I kept sneezing yesterday. I think I mentioned it on the live yesterday morning. Sneezing. Felt like I was coming down with a head cold. And lo and behold, how could I forget that it's allergy season? And my spring allergies are horrible. Hi, Cool Gamer. How are you, Cool Gamer? How are you doing? Cool Gamer, tell me how you feel about TikTok. Do you utilize TikTok, the TikTok app? Do you feel like it's in danger right now? For those who use it and enjoy it, do you feel like it's in danger of being banned in the U.S.? I see that it does have some people kind of in an uproar that our House of Representatives passed the bill today. But I think most people know, but there are quite a few people who don't understand that bill may go nowhere. That bill may go nowhere. You're doing good, Cool Gamer. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you're doing good. That's always nice to hear. It's always nice to hear. So, just like they passed that in the House, that bill may go nowhere. I don't think it doesn't really bother me one way or the other if it's banned or if they force them to sell it. I don't understand, the United States isn't the only country who uses TikTok. So that forcing them to sell it, that's crazy to me. That's wild. I don't think that'll happen at all. But hey, it's possible. If the United States is their focus, it's possible. But if the United States is their focus and they sell it, then that creates a problem for them. So that's crazy. That's crazy. Tell me, what do you think about it? What do you think about the United States? To some people, it's really, they feel like they're being disrespectful. Like, how dare you? How do you have the gall to tell a foreign country to to sell something that belongs to them, or to have it banned in the U.S.? So if you're going to do that for TikTok and it works, what else will you do it for? Are you trying to become a world what would you call that? A world, there are a couple of names that I could say, but I don't want to say it. Or are you trying to become the ruler of the world? I'll put it in a mild way to say that. Are you trying to become the ruler of the world? The ruling society, the ruling authority of the world. United States, we can't do that. You can't do that. You guys put enough government and restrictions on your own citizens. You do. So now you want to tell another country that they have to sell their product or be banned. There are some things that this country does, and I'm sure apps created in this country, we're definitely sure of that. How would the United States feel if China or anybody told us that we needed to sell a product, or or that product would be banned in their country, especially when it comes to this World Wide Web? No, you can't just rule the world. I know the United States is kind of like a top dog, but you just can't rule the world in that way. Hey, Jill, I'm here listening and editing. Okay, Jill's always editing, putting out content, editing and putting out content. So please go there and check her out. Jill's Comfort Zone, guys. Jill's Comfort Zone. She's editing right now. She does a lot of editing because she puts out a lot of content. And so that's content you can watch. Good, positive, clean content that you can watch. You get tired of the old regular BS type of stuff. Or if you just get bored. It doesn't have to be BS. It can be something. It can be just other content, other niches, and you get bored. Go check out something that you don't watch. Check out some things that you don't watch. If you like vlogging, if you like cooking, eating, check out Jill's Comfort Zone. If you like just general good conversation, check out Jill's Comfort Zone. Please and thank you. I would appreciate it. Because that's what we do over here. Some people like to vlog when they go on vacation. And that's great, if that's their content and that, that gets them to feeling good and that's the way they do things, that's great. But when I'm on vacation, Vacation. Hello. Now, if it's something really exciting or something really nice to share while you're on vacation, of course you want to do that, of course. But talking about vlogging every day that you're on vacation, heck no, you're on vacation. Like you're spending time with your family and friends. Let social media have a vacation, just like you intend to have a vacation. Sometimes we need a vacation from social media, and social media needs a vacation from us. Everything that you do doesn't have to be on here, because you can best believe that everything that you put on here will be criticized, critiqued, and ridiculed. You will have some positivity. Yes, you will have some encouragement. You will have people who say nice things. But the thing that I've learned about social media is people enjoy being negative more so than they enjoy anything, anything. And that's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you for those who gave me a thumbs up. I appreciate you. Thank you for those who just happened to come by. I'm not going to, beat you up about a thumbs up, because the fact that you stopped for a second or two, for a minute or two, however long you stopped, that was support. That was support. I think people focus so much on having support in one particular way that they, fail to say thank you for the support that they do get. So be happy for all the support that you get. Don't just be so happy about the thumbs ups, okay? Somebody can give you a thumbs up and not really even like what you're talking about. Somebody can give you a thumbs up just because you keep saying it. And yes, it does help you. It helps in the algorithm. But that's not the be all of it all. The view helps probably a lot more than the thumbs up to me, because it seems like to me most people, they really are concerned about their views. So you're getting views and nobody thumbs you up. Guess what? If you're getting views and people are seeing you, then more people will see you. More people will see you. And yes, the thumbs up, they really help. They definitely help. But I'm grateful for it, for whatever support. Whatever support, as long as it's good. Good, clean, and fun. And that's what I wanted to ask you guys. Not just about TikTok, but what makes you tick? Tell me, if you don't catch this live video, you can tell me in the replay what makes you tick. Whether it's something in a good way, in a negative way, in a, what would you say, neutral way. That may sound like an oxymoron to say that it makes you tick, but it's neutral. When I say neutral, I mean like it's not so much that you consider it that you consider it negative or positive. It's just that it's kind of a nuisance, like kind of annoying, but doesn't bother you too much. Sometimes you can have things that happen that they don't really bother you one way or the other, but if you encounter it, you avoid it. If you encounter it, you avoid it. It's just like a little nuisance. It's like a fly, like a mosquito. If it bites you, of course you're ticked off. If it leaves you alone, you're great. But if it just kind of, buzzes around, you may get annoyed by it and you may not. You just may be like, can you please leave me alone? Some things bother us a lot more than others. So that's what I mean when I say, just kind of neutral, not one way or the other. And as far as TikTok goes, I guess you could be neutral if you don't really enjoy the app, but you know people who do. And so you don't want those people to lose their form of entertainment. And that's how I feel about that. It doesn't really bother me one way or the other. But you don't want other people to, lose their form of entertainment. Oh my goodness, somebody hit the little cat. Somebody hit the little cat. He's on the side of the road. I hate to see that. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a raccoon at first, but it's not a raccoon. It's a cat, y'all. Somebody hit the cat. And he's right there on the side of the road, right there in the grass. So maybe he was able to limp over to the grass. I don't know, but I hate to see that. I hate whenever I see cats and dogs, that have been hit, because most likely they were probably just trying to cross the road or, just trying to get to wherever they were going. And they just mistimed things. They mistimed things. And then you just never know what the person was doing who was driving. So, yeah, Jill, I hate to see that. I saw a dog earlier this week. In fact, it was Monday. I saw a little dog. He had been hit. And you know how animals will sometimes, when it's hot, they'll just stretch across the driveway or across the car or even in grass, like just to keep cool, just to chill out. And so he was stretched. He was stretched on the side of the road. It was like an exit. You know how you exit the road, the highway, And then oftentimes there's like a large patch of grass, a large area of grass. So I kind of knew, how you kind of just know he was hit, but you're still just wondering, well, maybe he's just an area pet, an area dog, and this is what he does. But he was laid out, and his legs, both of his hind legs were stretched out, and he wasn't pulling them. He wasn't doing anything. He was just moving his head a little bit, trying to, look around and stuff. So I think what happened was he may have gotten bumped by a car or hit, and his either one or both of his legs were broken, or maybe his back, and he couldn't move. So he was stretched out because he couldn't move. Okay, all right, thank you, Jill. He was stretched out because he couldn't move, and that was sad. So I did call the pet people with the Humane Society. I did call someone so that they could go check on him, so they could pick him up. So I hope they were able to get to him. I really, really do. I hope they were able to get to him before someone else was able to hit him. I think he was okay as far as someone else hitting him, because he was, well off into the grass enough so that the cars wouldn't hit him. But at the same time, he was in a dangerous location for him to be, especially to be in that situation. Can't run, can't move. And it was so sad because he was looking around. I guess he wanted help. He was looking around, but then he just kind of laid his head over to the side, like he was just like exhausted, like he was in pain. He laid and then he lifted it up, kind of like you do, like if you're in a sleepy state and you come out of that sleepy state and you're still kind of, that little sleep tiredness is weighing on you, trying to wear off, you're trying to get ready to get up. He moved around and he lifted his head to one side. Hello. And then he picked it back up. He did it to one side, he picked it back up. But you could just tell, animals are very expressive, and you could tell by the look on his face that he did not feel good. I would have thought he would have been, I would say howling. I know he's a dog, he's not a wolf, but wolves are a form of dogs. But I would have expected him to be, growling, howling in pain. So I saw that, and it really did upset me. That was disappointing to see him like that. But I did call for help. Sometimes, the smallest things that you do can help someone. Sometimes the smallest thing that you can do can help someone. And I love pets. I love pets. And to see that dog on the side of the road, and to see him with not being able, hey, Brilliant, how you doing, Brilliant? Not being able to move his hind legs, that was sad. That was sad. And I was just like, I don't know if his back is broken. I don't know if one or both of his hind legs are broken. But him being that close to the interstate, I kind of figured out quickly that he probably wasn't just parlaying on the grass. He could have been from the area, but I don't think he was. I don't think that he was. Because I've hit a dog before. Like, how many of you guys have hit a pet before? Bree says, hey, is Sonya in here? I don't see Sonya. I saw Cool Gamer. I saw Retirement Days, which is Betty. I saw the Tank guy and someone else. But if Sonya's in here, I haven't seen her. Hello, Sonya. If I missed you, but I don't think she is. But thank you, Brilliant. Anyway, for speaking to everybody, saying hello. For speaking to everyone and saying hello. But yes, y'all. So I'm not really bothered one way or the other about TikTok, because they got a long way to go to ban it. Some people think that it's been banned. It has not been officially banned. If you have the app, you can touch the app. It will come on. And for right now, people are still able to receive, their entertainment from TikTok. It simply passed the House. It simply passed the House. It has to pass the Senate. And there has already been talk in the Senate that some people have a problem with kind of banning it or trying to force the sale. First of all, it's a foreign-owned, owned by a foreign country. So how can you force China to sell, or whoever owns it in China, how can you force them to sell? If that's the case, they may as well just say, well, forget it. Just ban us. Just ban us. The United States is only one country. Do you know how many people utilize TikTok? Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Congress. Do you know how many people utilize TikTok? So for everyone who's kind of in an uproar, yes, I don't blame them. You know, if they use TikTok for their form of entertainment, if they use TikTok as a form of income, you know, a lot of people say that they have used income, you know, that's their form of income. TikTok is a stream of financial support for them. So those people will be upset, and I understand that. But just know that it only passed the House. It only passed the lower, you know, between Congress. You have to pass both. Between the two houses of Congress, you have to pass both. It only passed the House of Representatives. It did not pass the Senate. And there are politicians in the Senate who do have a big problem with the way the House is handling it. You know, and I'm going to be honest. If TikTok was something I was big on or big about, I would be very nervous about it. I would, you know, not extremely nervous. There's a lot of other things we could worry about. But I'm thinking, Congress, why are you messing with TikTok right now? There's so much that's going on in this country that you need to be addressing. You know, it just passed the House for everybody who's getting a little bit anxious. It did not pass the Senate. To me, the Senate is the stronger of the two. You know, all bills have to pass both, but by the time that bill passes the Senate, it may look so watered down or so different from what the House has created till it won't affect people the way that they think. Now, if the Senate says, hey, you know, we're on board, let's just get rid of this, and then the president signs off on it, then yeah, it's gone. It's gone. But, you know, it just passed the House. I think the most concerning thing about it passing the House is the fact that it was bipartisanship agreement on it. You know, this was something that the Republicans and the Democrats seemed to come together on, because I think it passed like 360 something to like 65 to leave it alone. So yes, there's a lot of rumbling about TikTok, and that leads me to believe it's not really about TikTok itself per se, because the apps, other apps, U.S. apps, affect children in crazy ways as well. I think it's about the flexing of control. You know, right now, China and the United States aren't arm in arm, happy-go-lucky, you know? So I think it's more of a flex for our government, a flex against China. And so before it passes, the Senate has to pass it, and the president has to sign off on it. So don't be so worried just yet, but do be very concerned and do pay attention. Brian says it only passed the House, still needs the Senate to pass, Amber. Exactly. It's got a long way to go. It's got a very long way to go. And like I said earlier, the way I've seen some politicians in the Senate who are not really pleased at some of the wording of the bill that was passed in the House. They're concerned with freedom of speech, freedom of expression. You know, they're concerned with some things like that. So it is good that, you know, there's a system of checks and balances. Now, does that system always work out? No. Does it always work out? No. But it is good to know that there is a system of checks and balances. You know, just imagine if the House could sign everything into law that they were against, or that they were for. Just you know, imagine that if they could sign into law everything that they were for and against, with no regulation, with no checks and balances, no oversights from any other committees. So yes, Brittany says, I do understand the security concerns that they have. Yes, I do too. I do too, Brilliant. I understand those as well. So it's like since I don't utilize it, I'm kind of okay with whatever they do. But I do know that it is a source of income for some people. And, you know, and for those who don't use it and don't create or generate income from it, it's just an entertainment. It's a source of entertainment. And honestly, I don't I don't use it, and I don't really care if they do ban it personally, but I do care for the millions of people who do, you know, they are able to generate some income. You know, as long as it's not hurting anybody, And I think that's some of the issue too. Congress feels like it's not good for minors. But hey, there are other apps in the United States that aren't good for minors. They'll ban you for saying one thing and someone else, they'll let them fly off the rails, you know? So how about some little in-house regulation for those apps that are right here in the United States that have their issues as well? Don't get me wrong, they stay on top of Facebook. That's one thing I will say. Every time you turn around, Zuckerberg is up there in Washington. He's up there in Washington before them, speaking on something, being questioned about something, being grilled and drilled about something. Every time you turn around, he is. I don't see that as much with others, but with him, yeah, I see that a lot. So yeah, brilliant. I see that too. And like I said earlier, I think it's mostly a flex of our government because the United States and Congress, the United States and China aren't really too happy-go-lucky with each other right now. They aren't really like hand in hand, like, chilling out and a good old time. They aren't really in agreement with each other on a lot of things. So yeah, I would just hate to see people lose, again, their source of income or their source of stress relief. Because I say it all the times, these apps can put a lot of stress on you, but just depending on which app you use and what you use it for, they can be stress relieving as well. So for those people who use it in a positive way and they just kind of, sidestep the bull crap that's on the apps, I do hope everything works out for them. And I do hope that instead of banning it, that there's some regulations put in place as to how it's used here in the United States. And, they block things all the time. If it's something that they're putting out or, that they're allowing in other places, they block things all the time. Other apps, I often hear people say, like on Facebook, it'll say something about certain content not being available in certain countries. And it does that on YouTube as well. Certain content, certain things about an app aren't available to certain countries. So I just really do feel like they can come up with something. So again, I'm not big on TikTok. I don't really care if they ban it or not. But I care as far as other people go. Their right to be able to use it, their right for the freedom of expression and freedom of speech. So yeah, for that reason, I do. There are some security concerns, like Brilliant said, that the U.S. has, but there are some security concerns that they should have with these apps that are developed right here in America as well. Hey, Sonia. Hey, Sassy. Look, I see the S and I keep saying Sonia. Hey, Sassy. What's going on, Joshua? Hi, Joshua. Joshua says hi to everyone in the chat. So yeah, so for those people who enjoy TikTok, for those people who, TikTok is a stream of income for them, I hope everything works out. And I hope it's not banned. The other option was for them to sell it. I don't think that you can force another country to sell their product. That would be crazy. So what, you're going to say you can force them to sell it and you take it over. What are you going to do to make it better? So like Brilliant said, it has a long way to go. What are you going to do to make it better? It has a long way to go. And what else makes you guys tick? I said, you guys. Sometimes these words are tongue twisters and it sounds like you're saying something that you're absolutely not meaning to say. Tongue twisters. Jill says, I keep stumbling over Sonia's new name too. Hey, Sassy. Yes, Jill, that's what I was telling them yesterday. When people change their names on here, I try my best to stick with the new name. Because the longer I call them or mistakenly say the old name, the more other people will continue to hear it. And it's so strange to me that people will get upset with you because you changed your name. It's a name change. It's just like when someone gets married. Their last name changes most of the times. It's just, and it's not even like that. Some people just change their names. I've seen people change their own first name. So if they change their name, that means they want to go by the new name, right? So who am I to get mad? We're going to slip up sometimes, of course. But I've changed my name on here before, and people have a 15-minute session talking about how I changed my name, how they keep forgetting. And I'm like, and so right now, as you keep talking about it for 15, 20 minutes, people are still talking about that old name, and I can't get the switch up to the new name. It's new because I want it to be new. So that's why I apologize to Sonya. No harm intended. And it's sad that I have to say that, but with the things that I've seen on this app and the way people maneuver and work, it's the things that you would think would be small. Like Sonya knows we didn't do it intentionally, but I've seen so many people do that. I've seen someone in the chat literally get into an argument because someone else in the chat said, "Oh, that's so and so," right? Okay. And guess what immediately happened? Everybody in the chat who didn't catch that the person changed their name reverted right back to saying that old name. And that's what they were trying to get away from. A lot of times people change their names because they want to rebrand their channel, or they just simply want to do it. They simply want to do it. So I don't mind people reminding me. If I see you and you've changed your name and I call you by your old name, remind me. I may not even think about it. I may not even catch that I did it. Like earlier with Sonya, I said, "See, I just did it again." With Sassy, I said it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." Every time I say that, say something. Say something, Sassy. Say something. Jill says, "I did the same for you too, Large Pride. It took me a minute. Now I can remember your old." Right. Like, I'm like, okay, you see Lions Pride. That's my name. That's what I want to go by. That's why I put it on my, channel. You can call me, if you see that name, Lions Pride, you can say Lions. You can say LP. If Lions Pride is too long for you, I have no problem with people saying LP, Lions. But they always, and I could tell, you could tell when it was intentional. They would resort right back to calling me the old name. And what that does, it makes anyone who comes into your chat that's new, it puts that into their head. And that's just the rule of nature. That's just the rule. It's just the laws of nature. Once they say that old one, people will latch onto it, or those who have begun to say your new name will resort back to it, because it's like your brain has been branded. Have you guys heard of branding the brain? It's like a very, very good marketing tool. It's very strategic and it's very easy. All you have to do is say something enough times. It's just like the commercials, the jingles. When you hear a jingle like 2 or 3 times, it could be 2 or 3 times in 1 week. It could be a new jingle. That next week when you hear it, I bet you know that jingle. You may not know all of it, but you know it. It sticks with you because your brain has been branded with that particular product. What Joshua got? Joshua says, "I'm going to subscribe Jill Thursday morning or later." Huh? Joshua, the ones I got are ugly, but they are so comfortable. What you got, Joshua? Got some new shoes? Sassy says, "Lines Pride, did you see the sketch?" No, did you post them? I need to go look, Sonya. I'm going to go look. I remember you saying that you would post them, but I forgot to go look. I've been on your channel since then because I saw a short that you put up, but I didn't see. I think you said that you would post it after that. You may have said it before. I didn't see the sketchers, but I'm going to make sure to go back when this live is over and look for those sketchers, because I'm intent now on finding my New Balance. Like these sketchers, I tried them because they were cute and they felt really good. But because I didn't get that second pair of shoes like I was supposed to, I can tell the difference in the way they feel now. And I walk every day. And even if I don't walk, I exercise in them every day. So I need to go and get those pair of New Balance. I can tell the difference though. Had I gotten New Balance that I've used in the past and worn them daily like this, I don't think I would feel the difference quite yet. So I do think, for me, New Balance is definitely a better brand of shoe. The Skechers did well, but as far as every day, you will begin to see the difference a lot sooner. Joshua says he's not a fan. Sassy says, but I'm used to it now. I missed those before Jill's come in. If you follow me on Facebook, my name being Sassy your name's been Sassy since 2009. Joshua says, okay, Sassy, you got Old ones, I like Converse. So Joshua is a fan of Converse. Joshua, don't worry about subscribing to me, hun. She's good. Yes, Joshua. Jill is good on that. And if you, Joshua, addressing anybody in the chat, make sure that your addresses or your comments to people are nice, not judgmental, not critical, and not ugly. Yeah, Jill says, yep, it does stick with you. It does, yep. Sassy says, Jill, I can't remember her old name. Right. And Sonya, that's the thing. Like, you just brand, all you have to do is just keep, if you see it, say it. I think a lot of times what people do is they see the avatar. So maybe a good thing to do is to change your avatar, but you shouldn't have to do that. You know, it may take a little bit longer. I can see changing the avatar, making it a little bit easier for them to remember that, hey, that's her name now, you know, or that's his name now. I think changing the avatar helps. But, you know, you're an adult. If you see the same avatar, sometimes people have the same, you know, just say what you see. You know, just say the name that you see. And because that's what it was with me, Sassy. That's what it is with me. When I see the avatar, I immediately think the old name. So I try my best to say the new name. Jill says, yes, Sassy, laugh out loud. Joshua's asking, brilliant, how is she? He's doing good. Jill says, I'm trying to be nice, but if you keep poking, don't cry when I bite back. I am respecting my friend's page. Yes, Joshua, I'm just going to say this, and it's not to be mean or disrespectful to anyone, but I must be respectful to my mods because I appreciate my mods being respectful to come to my channel and to mod for me. You know, modding is a job that they do in most cases for free. I think some people do pay their mods, and every now and again some people show them appreciation, but people have to realize that mods don't have to mod for you. And even if you give someone a mod stick, you know, you're kind of assuming that that's a job that they have. You know, so far the mods that I have, Jill, Sonya, Chef, and Rock, they haven't said or insinuated that they don't like modding for me. So I don't want them to come over here and be poked for no reason, because the next time it happens, you will be removed you won't be able to come back, okay? And I try to be diplomatic. A lot of times people say, oh, I don't like it over there because of this or because of that. It's because I stand on what I say. You know, I don't treat anybody mean who comes over here, but you're not going to treat anybody mean. And that's you, Joshua, and that's anybody that comes over here, because this is a place for information, education, grown, adult, mature conversation. So, you know, and everything to one person may not be funny to the next person, especially when it's at someone else's expense. So don't say things that are supposed to be jokey, you know, with someone else's expense, because none of us know each other that way. That's the rule I go by on here when it comes to jokes. I don't make jokes about particular people or towards particular people, because no one on here knows each other like that. Sassy says, correct, they are not Skechers. They are, yes, Sonya, I promise you. And like I said, you know, had I not worn them like every day, I think they would have lasted longer. So I would buy them again. Like if I get to looking and can't find them, I would buy the Skechers again. But I would definitely buy 2 pair of Skechers. When it comes to the New Balance, I usually try and buy a New Balance, 2 pair of New Balances, or a New Balance and something else. And so the something else would have been the Skechers. So when I saw the Skechers, I bought them. But you know, they felt so good. I put off getting the New Balance. And I put it off because I never could find the ones that I wanted when I went inside the store. And I don't like ordering shoes online. So I kept putting it off. I ended up walking in these, jogging in these every day. And so now I think I've had them maybe 6 months. And there's a noticeable difference. There is a noticeable difference. And I just know that had I had Skechers, especially the Skechers that I typically buy, that are especially for walking, jogging, old school Skechers, they would still be really good. That would still be really good. Jill says, I've done nothing to this young man but try to give him sound advice. You did. You did, Jill, and I remember that. I went over to his live and support him as always. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. So a lot of times you just don't click with a person, but you've supported them. And then, sometimes people rub each other the wrong way. And I cannot understand why people, y'all, that WHY question, it's so overly used on social media. If you say you don't want to do something, the first thing you hear is why. I don't mind the first why, but sometimes I don't want to hear why, because people just choose to move how they move. They choose to interact with who they interact with, and that should be the end of it. That should be the end of it. I'm not going to say, it depends on who it is. If it's Jill, I'm hitting her Gmail. Like, what's going on? What happened? what happened? If it's sassy, what happened? If it's brilliant, what happened? And I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, because sometimes we as people, we can't offend people and we don't even know that we did it. But then there are other times when we know absolutely that we offended someone, because we kept poking and we kept saying things to get a response. I've learned that if someone doesn't address you, then that's a sign to just leave them alone. Hey, Spiky. How you doing, Spiky? Joshua says he's eating noodles already early this evening. Hey, it's a meal, Joshua. It's a meal. Sassy says, Jill, you are so sweet and always helping others. Yes, definitely, Sonia. Jill is always helping others, and she's always helping others, and she's always finding ways to get people to to come together. To come together. She doesn't force it. But she puts out ways for people to be more positive with each other, with people to come together. And she does challenges, different types of challenges, just things to be, just fun things, things that you can come on here as adults, mature adults, and have fun to do, have fun doing some fun things to do. Jill says, to make fun of me having seed was that was very disrespectful. And it required no laughing emojis. And if you guys have not heard, please protect yourselves. Protect yourselves. It was very disrespectful, and I prefer not to deal with him. Yes, right, and can coexist and be polite. Exactly. So doesn't have to take any conversation. I say that all the time. If there's someone in the chat that you don't, click with, you don't jive with, you guys have had maybe a run-in here or there, then just don't address each other. It's as simple as that. Like, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to wonder why, because 9 times out of 10, you know why. And even if you don't, then you don't have to say anything. And now, if it's someone that you've really kind of established a relationship with, that's a whole different story. If Chef Finance Wine came in here and he was acting kind of, and this is just an example, cold toward Jill, he was kind of responding to everyone else and kind of dry responses to Jill, to no responses, then me, knowing both of them for as long as I have, never talked to him on the phone, never emailed them, but you do develop relationships on here. I would want to know if I could help them figure that out. I wouldn't keep forcing it. I would just attempt. And once the attempt has been made, I would leave it alone. A lot of times we don't know when to stop or when enough is enough. Spiky says, hey. Jill says, thank you, Sassy. Hey, Spiky, what you doing today, Spiky? How are you doing and what are you doing? What are you up to? Jill says, yes, he would come to my lives and announce he's going live. Right. Yes, he does. Joshua does do that. But I'm hoping, that he's learning. The more we emphasize, certain etiquettes and certain rules, and it doesn't have to be a YouTube or a Google rule. It can be a rule that the content creator has for their page. I get it, Jill. I get it. So I'm not gonna keep talking about it. I think he gets what we're saying. But you did have a right to, to let him know, because sometimes people will feel like they don't know, but then we know that most times they do. But then they'll come in and try to see if they can kind of, manipulate their way back into your good graces, so to say. But sometimes some people just aren't meant to be on the same page because they're not on the same page. And that's okay. That's okay. There's 7 million people in this world, you know? I'm sure that you can find some that you click with. Sometimes you're going to always run into people who you don't. And the best thing to do is to be mature, to be an adult about it, and just leave it alone. Don't keep poking. Don't keep poking. I see everybody speaking to Spiky. I appreciate it. Spiky is saying hello to everyone. Jill says, oops. Yep, I saw it, Jill, and I caught it. See, that helped me. That helped remind me to try and catch it. Sassy says, Jill, that's okay. Jill says, right. I don't know this. Right. And Jill, you guys know how I am. I say that all the time. Like, many of us have had encounters, or we fall out, we argue with family members, spouses, children, and we're around them for weeks and won't say a word unless it's something that's absolutely necessary. So if you can do that with someone you love, maybe even friends, maybe not family members, but if you can do that with someone you love, you definitely should be able to just move around in the chat, be respectful. And if something happens in a good way and you guys click, then good. But otherwise, just move around each other. Just move around. Because I like it being peaceful. I like it being peaceful in chats. Now, people will say that's boring, but guess what? That's okay with me. That is fine with me. Because nobody comes to an app. You know what? I'm not going to even say nobody does that because I see people do it every day. But the goal of coming to an app shouldn't be to get your blood pressure up. That shouldn't be the goal. It shouldn't be to get someone else's blood pressure up. It shouldn't be to ridicule. It shouldn't be to criticize. It shouldn't be to put down or look down. If you're going to look down, be pulling them up. Make sure it's long enough that you're pulling someone up. That's another golden rule over here. If you look down at them. Or you can look down on them, but pull them up. Sassy says right on. Yeah, pull them up. If you're going to look down on someone, look down at someone. Make sure you're pulling them up. So with all that being said, Joshua, you are welcome in this chat. As long as you keep it polite, positive, encouraging, and uplifting. And I don't want to speak for Jill, but I'll just say, just don't address Jill unless you have a mod question. A question, and she's the mod in here that can answer you. Or if Sassy is in here, you have a mod question, ask Sassy, Chef, Rock. If they're not here, I'll address it. And Jill can address it, but just leave it at that. Just leave it at that. A subscriber/mod subscriber relationship. And that'll be good. And you see, to me, that's how things are supposed to be worked out. That's how things are supposed to be talked about. And you don't drag them on and on and on. You can still kind of get a feel for what the person is saying, for what each side is saying, and what has been done and what you've observed. And you address it and you move on. Because we know, now we all understand, what happens if that happens again, Joshua. Or for anyone who does that. Because I cannot stand someone, being disruptive. If you're going to come over here, like I said, you may be bored because it's not about having mess and drama. And I think sometimes, even though people will see your chat and know that, sometimes I think they get a little mad about that. And they want you to have the problems that they're having or the issues that they're having. Sometimes it'll surprise you. Well, no, sometimes it'll shock you. But as far as being surprised, you shouldn't be surprised at anything you see on any app, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You shouldn't be surprised. Sometimes certain people will shock you, but you shouldn't be surprised. Because there are a lot of people on here that I truly, truly like. But if I were to sit down and fill out a questionnaire, I think there's every person I would have um, some reluctancy in dealing with them when it comes to certain things or certain topics. And then when they come out of a bag on you and show you, you'll realize that you're right. Always trust your instinct. Always trust your intuition. Discernment is everything. Just as it really is, Sassy. Oh, Sonya saying it's getting dark. Yep, it is. Y'all know sometimes it's still dark when I'm out here. I started later today too, because Monday, did I, no, was it Monday or Tuesday? No, it was Tuesday. It was yesterday. I walked yesterday morning. That's right. I walked yesterday morning, and when I'm off, I'm going to try and get back into mornings. Y'all remember when I was saying I kind of shifted a little bit? Depending on the weather, depending on the season, when it's really nice outside, if I'm off, I'm going to do mornings for so long, and then afternoons, as long as it's kind of like this, before summer kicks in, and then I'll switch back to evenings, early night. Sassy says, I see her now. Yeah, the street light. I'm near a street light. Y'all know I would be in trouble, right? The street lights are on. Mama would be like, apparently you were having a lot of fun. You were having a lot of fun because you let the street light beat you. You let the street light beat you. What did I tell y'all? Do not let the street light beat you coming on. All right? If that street light comes on, that means you're out too late. If that street light comes on, y'all, if that street light comes on, that means you're out too late, right? Jill says today is so beautiful outside. It is. I took my walk just before you came on. Yeah, it is, Jill. I wish I had known that. I was trying to come on earlier. Because even though it's getting dark later now, I still was trying to come a little bit earlier so that I could be finished and have a little bit of daylight left. And it's gonna, we're gonna get even more. I think we're gonna get a little bit more. Because I think June 20th or 21st, whatever the first day of summer is the longest day as far as like the daylight saving time. I think the first day of summer is typically the longest day that you'll have daytime hours. Well, not daytime hours, but daylight. You good, Joshua? Yes, everything's all good. Everything's all good. We're going to keep it all good. Yep. So, yeah, I think the first day of summer is typically the longest day of the daylight savings forward change in an hour. And, of course, some people are still getting used to it. Some people say that they wish while Congress is worrying about TikTok, maybe that is something that they could be, discussing. Because before it becomes nationwide, I think Congress has to pass it. Now, that is one of the things that each state can decide on their own. But I don't know the laws of every state, but there are some hurdles and some obstacles to it. I think a few states have passed it where they don't fall back or spring forward. Everything is just the same year round. I think. I'm not absolutely sure, but I've heard people, from other areas discuss that and talk about that. The fact that they wish that they just leave it alone. But for the most part, I think everybody in the United States falls back. We set our clocks back in the fall and we spring forward, setting our clocks an hour forward in the spring. And I hope you guys, speaking of that, I hope you guys have been participating in Jill's Spring Forward Challenge. Let me know if the hashtag is right, Jill or Sassy, because I know you guys have been doing it. Is it hashtag Spring Forward Challenge? Is that what the hashtag is? If it's hashtag Spring Forward Challenge, I think that's the challenge. And it doesn't, case doesn't matter. It can be all capital, all lowercase. What I find is I like doing it with each new word. I make it a capital letter because it kind of stands out. It's easier to read. To me, that's easier to read. it stands out that way. So, and I get so mad because I really don't. I love watching challenges, but I don't like participating in them because I feel like I don't meet the expectations of the challenge. Like, if it's something we're supposed to do every day, it's gonna be some reason I didn't do it that day. Or if it's something that we're supposed to do, say every week for a month, if it's once a week, that's a little bit easier. But I still feel like I don't do it. I'm one of those people where I just work on like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I do it for however long I do it. So I need to do better. I need to maybe start trying harder to participate. I really don't participate because I know how I am. I know how I am. I'm like, okay, I feel like I have to do it. So have you guys ever felt like that? When you feel like it's something you have to do, it's almost like you have to make room for it. You have to make time for it. You have to make space for it. And it seems like it's harder to do. But I'll find myself like making things, cooking things. I'm not one who cooks on here a lot. I just kind of show stuff. I'll show anybody's food in the house. Like my nephew can come in and I'll just show his food, make a short out of it. One of my kids can come in, I'll just make a short. Anybody that comes in the house, if I see something, I make shorts out of anything. But I'm gonna get back to my wildlife because I do love wildlife. I miss those shorts. But I'm not making those. I'm just kind of sharing those. Jill says, you've been posting food, so that fits the criteria. Laugh out loud. And see, and Jill, it's like, I think maybe it's me overreading the challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, feeling like, okay, it's gotta be, I can post food, but like you said, like share your recipe, right? So I'm thinking, well, it's gotta be something that we kind of created. And it needs to be something that's, like, how can I say? Not that a bowl of cereal would even qualify, but I'll just use it as an example. Okay, if I'm gonna do a bowl of cereal, okay, I didn't, that's not really a recipe. I feel like it needs to be a recipe. Like I need to do dressing. I'm gonna make a short or a short video showing you guys how I make dressing. I think that is what makes me feel like, okay, there's a big demand on me now. I think I kind of sometimes overread the challenge. Or like, I made an omelet the other day. Yeah, I wasn't even trying to make an omelet. I cut it in half. But what happened was I was about to scramble some eggs. And you know how like you get the running around, because that's how I am in the kitchen. I'm telling y'all, even if it comes to eggs, I don't do like live videos doing that because I'm all over the place. I got to running around. Next thing I knew, I had basically a flattened egg. So I'm like, okay, that's an omelet. Let's flip it over and put some stuff in it. Because it was not going to be scrambled eggs anymore. So I probably could have done that. I'm like, okay, it's been on too long. It's not going to be scrambled eggs anymore. So let's just make an omelet. Joshua says, yes, I will stay positive. I always respect everyone who loves my artwork. Okay, Joshua. Jill said, but it's okay. No one has been posting their recipes, so it's all good. Okay, because that's what I was thinking. Like, you could do the video, because I remember you saying you could either take a picture and post a picture, but I thought you wanted recipes. So I was like, sometimes I don't have a recipe. Like, my recipe changes. Like, there are some foods that I use my mother's recipe, my grandmother's recipe, things like that. But a lot of times, like if it's something I'm just cooking, like I made, say chicken fajitas, everybody knows about chicken fajitas, but you do them your own way. So I feel like I gotta say, I did this, and I post a picture and I gotta put my recipe up there. And I'm like, am I gonna commit myself to do that? And because I think what it is, I don't want to say I'm gonna do it and then not do it. That's what it is. That's what it boils down to. I don't want to say I'm going to do it and then not do it. That's what it is. Sassy says, Jill, I'd be nervous, but I try my best. That first dish was the noodles and party wings was scary. I didn't have chicken breasts or chicken tenders, so my daughter and I came up with that. Hey, that's your recipe. That's your recipe. And you would be amazed, Sassy, at how many people will probably say, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that out. Jill says, I would love for people to post their recipe, but just the participating and supporting one another is all good with me. Yes, right, exactly. And that's what I was saying earlier. Your channel, I was telling them to go over to subscribe to Jill's Comfort Zone, because you're going to find good recipes. You're going to find her cooking some of the dishes. You're going to find vlogging and just general conversation. Just good old general, mature adult conversation. Jill addresses issues sometimes, things that she sees on the app. Sometimes just talk about family, things that we're doing with our families, our kids, just shooting the breeze. And to me, those are the better channels. You relax, you woosah. You can participate in the chat. You don't have to participate in the chat, but you can. And it's just kind of easy breezy, more laid back, more stress relieving. And even if it doesn't relieve stress, it doesn't cause it. Even if it doesn't relieve stress, it doesn't cause it. Jill says, you're right. It's all about being creative and positive fun. Exactly. Joshua says, yes, mine was hot in New York City, not too very cold. It looks spring coming by next week, March 19th. Yes, spring is coming. Spring is on its way. That's what we've been talking about for maybe a month now. And you think about it, a month ago was around Valentine's Day. And it has been looking really, really springish. I said that so many days last month, how I think it was like right after Groundhog's Day. I was like, they said this is only the 11th time since they've been doing that. And I know everybody doesn't believe in that, but it is just coincidental that it's the 11th time that he saw his shadow. And if he sees his shadow, that means an early spring. So I forgot when they started it. It was like maybe early 1900s, maybe late 1800s. But this is only the 11th time. So that means usually he doesn't see his shadow, which means usually spring won't come early. And it may be one day on the calendar, but when they say come early, they mean like the way it feels outside, warming up, being nice. And as we can see, most days I go walking, I'm talking about, I see trees, flowers blooming on trees, things are blossoming around us. I see the ant beds, especially after it rains. Some trees have bloomed already. The bulbs have bloomed, and they're falling off. They're falling off already. So it really has, been an early start to spring this year. But at the same time, we talk about those that winter snap, like that Easter snap. Easter is March 31st, and usually like 2 weeks before, maybe within 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after, you will get a burst of cold weather again. And it was kind of cold. When was it? Monday. It was cold. Jill says, have a great night, everyone. I'm going to get back to my editing. I'm still listening, huh? Okay, Jill, I appreciate you. I'm about to get out of here. It's been an hour. I appreciate you, Jill, for coming through. Sassy says it's 45 degrees here. It's supposed to snow. Really? And 45 for where you are, Sonia? That's still not real cold, though, is it? It's 45 seems like that's manageable. What's freezing? 32? So 45 seems manageable. It seems manageable. When it's like really, really cold, like 32 or less, like people don't want to get out of the house. You don't want to take the kids to school. You don't want to go to work. You want to just kind of hang around the house. Even if you get out of bed, you just kind of want to hang around the house. But if it's over that, I'm good to go. I'm like, okay, let me get up. Let me get out. Of course you got to get up and get out and go to work. But other than that, you're like, okay, if you're off, you're like, let me go ahead and get up and get out. Enjoy the day. It's pretty outside. Just cloudy. Okay, Sonya says it's just cloudy. Joshua says mine was no more snow in New Jersey. Okay. Jill says it was 70 today. We had snow on Sunday. See? Wow. See how it is? 70 today, and snow was just what was Sunday, 3 days ago? So as the weather begins to shift, as it begins to change, we will see more warm days. And like I said, we've been seeing spring-like weather since like February. So since just after Groundhog's Day, we've been seeing spring-like weather. But some places, 1 or 2 days during the week, it'll be cold. But I do feel like I said, we're going to have that winter snap or that Easter snap. Some people call it the Easter snap. When you have a good week of cold weather, It may be less than a week, but it's like really cold and it seems like it's still, winter. Seems like it's still winter, which it is, which it is. But, this year Easter it'll officially be spring. Yeah, because Easter is the last day of the month. So it'll officially be spring by the time Easter rolls around. Sonya says, okay, 45 in Colorado is cold. Okay, okay. See, I was thinking like 45 in Florida would be cold. But 45 in Colorado would be like, oh, this is a good day. I guess because I feel like it's just cold, cold, cold all the time in Colorado. So 45, I thought it would be like, okay, not warm, but, comfortable. Comfortable. Did y'all see that gnat? I don't know what it was. It was big, whatever it was. Flew right into my face, hit me right on the chin. I saw it coming. It was one of those things where you're like, I'm trying to think fast and I'm thinking in my head, just go around, go around. And then right at the last moment, I tried to just shook my head and he still popped me. He still popped me, so I hope he didn't bite me. Well, Joshua says, Sassy, are you in Michigan? Oh, she says, no, Colorado. Yeah, like even if it was Michigan, like if they say it's 45 in Michigan or Chicago, I'm thinking, okay, it's not too bad. Because I'm just so used to you guys like having snow and maybe the weather being below zero or close to zero. So when I hear 45 Colorado, 45 New York, 45 Michigan, Chicago, I'm thinking, okay, it's cold, but it's mildly cold. But I guess I'm wrong, right? I don't live there, so I guess that would be a wrong assumption. And I'm thinking if I hear 45 in Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, well, not Tennessee, because Tennessee it gets cold. South Carolina, I'm thinking, okay, that's cold. That's cold. Yep, I'm really thinking that is really cold. I'm trying to decide which way I want to go. I see where I need to be, but I'm not quite done yet. So I think I'll make one more lap around here and then I'll be done. I thank you guys all for joining me. I thank you. Everybody who usually supports me, you guys know I greatly appreciate you. Those who came through, who didn't drop down in the chat, I saw your numbers. I appreciate you. And again, thank you, YouTube. I know you're pushing us out. You were pushing us out a little bit more at first when you started this vertical streaming now, YouTube. Come on now. I'm one of the ones that said I appreciate you. It's some people on here that they've been complaining, they've been doubting, but at the same time, they've been using that vertical just to see, I guess. So I've been hearing people complain, they've doubted it, but I really appreciate it. Like we always say, with some good, there comes some bad. We get some trolls sometimes, but there have been people who have seen the videos that come back who aren't trolls. So we have to be grateful for that. And I feel like we have to say thank you to YouTube. But I feel like I have to say it. I have to say thank you to YouTube because, again, I appreciate everyone who's right here who always supports me. I greatly appreciate you. And I appreciate those who haven't always been here, who have come here. And even before they started the vertical stream, I would get people from those countries I usually name, like Africa, Indonesia, India, China, England, Japan. I would get people like that, but I've been getting more. So Ireland, someone came in from Ireland, Australia, Austria. So I appreciate that. I appreciate those people. We need to have more interaction with people from different places, not just different places within the United States, but different places worldwide. Different places worldwide. I just hate sometimes I can't interpret what they're saying to me, so I don't really know if it's good or bad. But there were a couple of people the other day, I can't remember where they were from, but I told them I couldn't understand. And they started to type in English, or maybe they turned something on, I don't know, but it started to come through in English, and they were good. They weren't trolls or anything. They were just people coming through, and whatever I was talking about, I know one guy said that he didn't know what I was talking about. Well, he didn't know who, but he wished, for a good outcome. So that's what we're looking for over here. People who are positive. And it's so crazy to me. I heard someone say, positive is good, but I don't know a but to positivity. I don't know a but to positivity. When there's a but to something, you pretty much shut down what you said prior to the but, or it's kind of like you don't want to do whatever you said. And so if anything is positive and then you put a but behind it, then you were probably just looking for negativity or a reason to be negative anyway. You're probably looking for negativity or a reason to be negative, or to try and create negativity in another environment because your environment is negative. So don't do that. Just because you're bothered, don't bother other people, you know. And for the trolls that come through, even when they troll, there's an option for that. So as long as they aren't being too nasty or ugly, get that view. And when they cut up to the point where you just like, I'm done, you know what to do. You know what to do. So don't let bothered people bother you. Don't let stressed people stress you. And another golden rule is when you argue with someone too long, what did your parents and grandparents and great-grandparents tell you? What did your teachers tell you? A stranger walks up, they can't tell who's the fool. A lot of times they can. But if it goes on for too long or so long, sometimes you can't tell what's going on. So if you're intellectual and you know that you're an intellect, you know that you have a great deal of intellect, then display that. Display that. We can always easily display stupidity. You know, display that you have a high degree of intelligence. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a high degree. Just display that you have a degree of maturity. You know, don't be doing things that you should be teaching your kids, and sometimes grown kids, not to do. Because some people have grown kids and they're doing things that their kids are looking at them like they're the parent. Like, are you serious? Like, are you serious, mom? Are you serious, dad? You taught me against that. And maybe they didn't, you know, maybe they didn't. But the child has still come to a point where they're more mature than the parent. If you ever feel like your child has more maturity, and then some parents don't even see it. They won't see it as maturity. I was about to say, if you ever feel like your child has more maturity, their maturity level has increased and is better than yours, pump your brakes. Take a minute. Take a few deep breaths. Woosah, woosah. Think, reorganize, refocus, and react appropriately. React appropriately. Joshua says, just stay focused on journey begins. Yes, stay focused and your journey will begin, especially to positivity. Don't let anyone tell you that it's never about positivity. Yes, do things pop up that we have to address in maybe a negative way? Yes, it's the world we live in. It's people. We're all people. No one's perfect. But positivity can be your goal, and it should be your goal. And if that's a problem for someone, then there's someone that you don't want in your realm anyway. That's someone that you don't want in your space. That's someone whose space you don't want to be in. Jill says, right, I don't have time to play with children, folks. Right, I have grown children of my own. Sassy laughing. Yeah, it's like some of the stuff you see on here is so childish. And it's like, okay, they have kids. Okay, and then you hear, okay, they have grown kids. Okay, and then you hear, okay, they have grandchildren. Shut the front door. Shut the front door. That's all you can say is shut the front door. Now, as adults, does that mean because we have children and grandchildren that we don't like a little drama? No. We don't like being a little messy? No, it doesn't. Many of us watch reality TV. That's all that is a little messy sometimes. You know, we watch certain games, certain shows, and we watch YouTube, and we like certain content creators where you don't go over there to make cupcakes and sweet potato pies. You know, you go for the drama. But the thing about it is, and you can support them, because when you're supporting content creators, just know sometimes you do support the creator. There is something about that content creator that you like. You may not like everything that they do or say. You may not like the company that they keep, but you have to remember that this is an app and no one controls anyone. You know, because the scroll option, when it comes to apps, when it comes to anything online, when it comes to news, you have that option. The option to scroll is a beautiful option. It's probably one of the best options on anything, whether it's an app, whether it's Google, you're Googling something and you're looking for some information. You know, some of that stuff you need to scroll on by because a lot of it is misinformation. So always use your option to scroll. You know, if someone just irks your nerves, why are you sitting there watching them? Scroll on by to something that gives you pleasure. You know, a lot of times people want to look at the negative things, or they want to look at the things that bothers them. If something about someone that you've never met bothers you that much, Treat them the way you treat people who you love when they bother you. Because again, most of us will stop talking to someone for 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months. Family and friends, co-workers, peers that we know, and some of them that we love. And we can sit right there and walk past them every day because we're mad about something. So if there's someone on this app, you should be able to walk right past them every day. If they don't, you guys don't sit horses. Y'all heard that before? They don't sit horses. Jill says, right, it's really sad. Joshua says, no matter what you perfect or not, it's about bliss. Jill says, people come on here with their bad behaviors, right, and try to hide behind the word of God. Come on, Jill. Those are the ones that you hear bringing his name up all the time. Those are the ones, it's like they feel, and I truly think they believe. They know that they don't, they should. If they know anything about God like they say they do, some people come on here and act like they're exempt from the behavior that God expects. You know, they come on here and they act like they're exempt from the behavior that God expects. And you know, God is not a toy. He's not someone, he's not an entity to play with. You know, I've heard people say, I can go right over here and do this to that person, and God knows my heart, he's going to forgive me. Quit playing with God. Quit playing with God, because if that was the case, then you're God, you know? And we know that that's not true. People will take, and it's not even manipulating his name. Really, to me, it's speaking down on him. Because people will say, oh, he knows my heart. Just because I come on here and raise hell every day doesn't mean he don't know my heart. Well, the God I know, and most other people know, even people who do wrong. So even for the people who think that way, they know that they're lying. They know that that's not right. He knows that we fall short. He knows that we're not perfect. But to come on here and almost challenge him, because to me, that's a challenge. And challenging God is something that you don't want to do. You know, challenging God is something that you don't want to do. We challenge each other. We challenge ourselves first. We challenge those we love to do good, to do better, to excel. And anyone else who we challenge, we should be challenging them to do the same thing. We can challenge people to cut certain behaviors, to turn around certain behaviors. Challenge is a word for a reason. But to challenge God, I had a coworker to say, if she ever caught her husband cheating, what she would do and God would forgive her. Well, first of all, what she said she would do, you know, God is the only one that has the ability to forgive like he does, but you have to come to him with a clean heart, and you have to mean what you're asking for. You know, you have to mean it. You can't you can't go to God with a manipulative mind, like you're going to manipulate him. You better stop playing with God. You better stop playing with God. Come on here and raise all kinds of sand in HE double hockey sticks, all kinds, and they fall back on the premise that he's God. He's going to forgive me anyway. Okay. You know there's a pathway to forgiveness, right? Most of us know that. And when you follow that pathway, it has to be with clean heart and sincerity. It has to be with a clean heart and with sincerity. You do not play with God. You do not tell God what he's going to do. You have faith in his ability to do all things within his will, because some things that we ask for aren't in his will. So yes, you have faith that he will do all things. You have faith to know that he can do all things and that he will do the things that are within his will. But when you sit there and you say that you can do all these bad things or all this inappropriate behavior and he will forgive you, that's like a challenge. That's like a challenge, and you don't challenge him. That's something that we don't do. And you do it if you want to, but that's something that someone with any grade of common sense, any grade with, you know, we all have 5 senses, right? And then most of us the majority of us have a degree of common sense. I call that the 6th sense. You know, it intertwines with discernment. You know, because everybody who has common sense doesn't necessarily have discernment. So it can and it cannot. So we'll say that's the 7th sense. Common sense and discernment. Well, there's an 8th sense as far as I'm concerned. And this, whether you've never been exposed to much, now you have those kids who don't really get exposed to much. They go to school, they come back home. Parents don't put them in anything. They don't do anything. Well, they sometimes can watch TV. But even if they don't watch much TV, they don't play video games. When you get out into the world, we have an inner conscience. That's called the sense that we were naturally given by God. He gives it all. But if you've never been exposed to anything, you have a degree of naturality that something is just not right. You know, you can feel. It's just like when I hear stories of people who were molested, who were SA or SM. They tell you something didn't feel right. That's that natural born God-given sense. That's that natural born God-given sense. Joshua says, God don't lie, it's just the truth speaks. Yes, he loves the truth. He doesn't like lies, but he knows when we lie. He doesn't like lies, but he knows when we lie. That's right. Yes, Betty, yes. Betty says discernment is so important. It really is. And so that's why I say we have five. We have five senses, of course. But then that number 6 is common sense. 7 is discernment. And 8 is just that natural born God-given sense. Jill says, hey, retirement days. Hey, hun. And retirement days, that's Jill's word for everybody. It's hun. You know how people say sis? I totally get why she says hun. Because I hear people on here say sis so much. And I'm like, sisters have fallen outs now. Don't get me wrong. But sisters make up most of the time, unless you've just done something that's just astronomically, just ignorantly poor, bad taste and judgment. And even then, after a while, you know. But the word friend, the word sis, the word bro, some of those words are used so loosely. And those are words that should be used, they should be tightly used to me. You know, it should mean something if you say sis, if you say bro. I hear it every day. Next week, they're dogging each other out, dragging each other through the mud. The next week, they're back okay. They're back to being sis again. The next week, they're back dragging each other through the mud. You know. Now, if you do that with your real sister, you've grown up together in the house together, or maybe not, but you've kind of grown up together. That's, you know, it's to be expected. Families aren't perfect. But you go through that with someone you love, that word is going to stick whether you guys are getting along or not, because that is your sister. If it's your best friend, you've grown up with them, you've known them for a long time, that is your sister. But for people you don't know, that word is used a lot. It is used a lot. That sis and bro, nah, because you don't treat your sis and your bro certain ways. And like I said, real sisters and brothers don't get along all the time. They drag each other through the mud from time to time. But when it comes down to it, there are some boundaries that they're not going to cross. There are some things they're not going to do because they have that blood connection or that spiritual connection or just that physical connection of knowing each other, you know, being friends for so long, really friends, that there are certain boundaries that they don't cross. I see people crossing boundaries every day and then they get back on here and say sis and bro. I'm like, huh? Jill says, yes, that sis word is used too loosely on here. 1 minute they're cool and the next, right. There are all types of, come on, Jill. No thanks. Right. And I'll say it sometimes because people use it so much. I don't say it a lot, but to certain people, I will say it because they say it to me. And, you know, you never know why some people may be using that word. But it may have nothing at all to do with negativity. May not be anything else to do with negativity. They may truly feel that way. Because, you know, when you're in church, people say sisters and brothers in Christ. You know, I can get with that, even though that's not always the case. You know, but usually you've developed a deeper bond or a deeper relationship. You know them. You've seen them, even if it's just every Sunday for 5 years. You know how far they go when they say sis. You know the degree of sincerity. But people you've never met, let alone sat down and had a cup of coffee with, no. Jill says, you crossed me once, I'm out. Look at Sassy laughing. And you know what? Those are the kinds of things I look at too and I pick up on. Like I notice certain people never use that word. And I would never say anything to them about it. But see, then you have people on here who will say, every time I speak to her, I'm like, hey sis, this. Like that was one of your first mistakes right there. Just like everybody ain't your friend, everybody ain't your sis. Okay? Everybody's not your bro. You have to be careful with the way you use certain words. Now, for some people, they don't mean it like that. It's just a term of endearment for some people, you know, and I can get that. I can get that. So I don't hate the fact that people use it, but I just don't want people, when I don't say it back or use it a lot, there's nothing negative meant by it. I just don't. I just don't. Because I think like Jill said, we use words too loosely on here. So that's one I use, but it depends on who it is when I use it. You know, depends on who it is. It really does. And again, people say, well, you fall out with your real sister. Yeah, you do. But that's your sister. That's your blood. You know, you know, that is your sister. Like it or not, you know, that's your sister. Now, does that mean you can treat her any kind of way because she's your blood sister and you grew up together? No. But at the end of the day, that is still your sister. Jill says, fine, and be sugar used to always laugh at me. Laugh at me about me not liking the sis thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that, Jill. I really don't like it either myself, but I don't knock people who do. But it's just something that I observe, and it's like I see some people use it so loosely and so easily, and then they're disappointed. Not the fact that I'm not going to even just harp on the fact that I just don't think I think it's too loosely used because they're not your sister, they're not your bro. Because you can have that mental, that spiritual connection with someone, and they can feel like a sister to you. They can feel like that, a brother to you. But it's like when you're in certain chats or in any chat, and someone just pops in for like the first or second time, and all of a sudden everybody in the chat is sis. I'm like, about that. I don't know about that. Jill says we may fall out with our real family, but yeah, but things I hear folks say on here to each, right? We don't do that with family, right? Not all, and you know, and some of us have had some knockdown, drag outs with our families, and we've said some things that probably we meant at the time, but we still wish we hadn't said it. Some of them we didn't mean, and we were just trying to go low, because sometimes people's anger will make you go low, you know. But at the end of the day, after you've said it, whether you meant it or not, there is still a bond there and a love there that has been nourished, or that has at least long standing, that you're willing to accept that you should have said it in a different way, but you said it in the ugliest way possible because at that moment you wanted to hurt them. Do you want them to continue to hurt? No. But the fact that you said it, you can't change it. But you feel bad about it. You know, you feel bad about it. So many people on here will say things to you and they feel absolutely nothing about it. They feel absolutely nothing about it. So why are you saying sis? Why are you saying bro? Why? Because there have been things I've said to my siblings, and God knows I was wrong. I knew I was wrong before I said it. But they may have said something, and the same for them. It just depends on who said it first. A lot of times one will say something so bad, and the other one will have sense enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to go there with you because you're my sister, my brother, even though you went there with me. And that one who said it later, if they have any type of conscience and that's your real sister, your real brother, even if it's like your best friend, they're gonna feel sorry about it, and they're gonna apologize about it. They're gonna say they were wrong. How they express their apology, I don't know, but they're gonna acknowledge it. You know, unless they're just too stubborn. Some people are really stubborn. Now, that being said, when someone does that, oftentimes they will draw an equal reaction, and something really bad will be said to them. But I don't care what you say. At the end of the day, if you love that person, you regret saying it, and you wish you could take it back, and you can't take it back. Words cut deep, and people remember the things that you say to them. And a lot of times they'll say, "Drunken man speaks the truth." Sometimes a sober man speaks the truth when he's pushed or when he's made angry enough, you know. And sometimes they'll even admit, like I said, that I didn't say that because I really meant it. I said it because it crossed my mind that you may be feeling a certain type of way about me, and I just wanted you to feel that same way that I was feeling. So I said something nasty. I said something low. I said something dirty, and I shouldn't have done it. So it's the different relationships. Those are your siblings for real. Those are your best friends for real. Those are the people that you interact with on a daily or a weekly basis, right there with you. And if you're in different towns, you guys are often calling each other. Those are people you know. But to get on here and you call them sis and bro, if they're not your sisters, but to get on these apps, calling everybody sis, no, no. Calling everybody bro, no, no. Right, Jill, words hold a lot of power. And even those words, some people say, oh, she just said sis. She calls everybody sis. It's just like when Jill says hun. Okay, I don't put as much stock into hun as I do if someone calls me sis. If someone calls me hun today and they cuss me out tomorrow and for no reason, well, guess what I won't be saying? That old heifer, she was calling me sis all this time. She just said hun. It's still a term of endearment. It's still, I don't. To me, words do, Jill. They hold power, and different words hold different degrees of power. And somebody else may think the total opposite of what I'm saying, and that's their opinion. That's their right. This is just my opinion. It's what works for me. And I'm like Jill. Hun is kind of like sis to me. If someone wants to take it like that, it's not like it to me. Like I said, in the fact that how much weight it holds. But if you just want to kind of address people in an endearing way, hun is a nice word. That's one of those nice words that you can do that. But sis and bro just hold a certain type of weight to me. They hold a certain type of weight to me that shouldn't be used, and it means that it shouldn't be used so loosely. Shouldn't be used so loosely. So people are different. Y'all drop a nugget about that in the comment section. And I know some people, they do truly mean it. When they say sis, when they say bro, they do. They truly mean it for whatever reason. Some people may not have ever had siblings. And this is maybe they may not have really had a lot of friends. And they may find a group in here and it just may give them that feeling of belonging. That feeling that they would have had. They may develop certain relationships with certain people even though they haven't met them. But they've interacted so much in the chat. They've seen the way that they think by the comments that they make. And so maybe they feel like, hey, that's a term they can use. So I'm not going to knock it for everybody. It's just that for me, it holds a lot of power. Like Jill said, it holds a lot of weight. It truly does. It holds a lot of power. It holds a lot of weight. It's just like when you're dealing with officials, council person, whoever. It's just how we address people. It's a little different when you say council person than when you say state representative. A little different when you say state house representative, state senate representative, a representative of the Senate as compared to the House. When you say the president, well, you should address everyone with the same degree of respect. But what I'm saying is, it's like, that for each label you give someone, the definition of that label differs. Each label doesn't hold the same significance or the same degree of respect. But as humans, yeah, we should respect everybody. We should respect everybody. And even though a lot of us say we do respect everybody, there are still some people who you have a little bit more respect for. And it is what it is. It's just that way. Like I said, I respect anybody as long as they respect me. When they disrespect me, I don't respect them. And I think everybody is like that. But you do have some people who they'll outright tell you, oh, that's so and so and so and so and so, and you can sit there and watch them. They'll damn near kiss that person's feet. But they'll see a homeless person pushing a cart and they'll look down on them. Like, okay, you're looking down on them. Why? Just because they're homeless? Is that the only fact? So if we see him tomorrow pull up in a limo with a tux on, he meets a woman tonight with millions of dollars. She cleans him up, dresses him up. He pulls up tomorrow with a tuxedo on in a limousine. You may not even know that he was the man that you saw pushing the cart yesterday. So are you going to respect him more because you're going to feel like he worked harder, he did more, when it may have just been given to him, may have been put in his lap, may have had a change of luck that night, met a woman 5 minutes after you saw him pushing the Target cart. You passed him and, glimpsed and barely noticed. But you see him in that same location tomorrow in a limousine. Doesn't have to be in a tuxedo. Could be in just nice clothing. Jeweled down. Doesn't have to have on jewelry though, not necessarily. Just neatly dressed, nice, fresh cut. You hear him speak. And he walks up to you and says that he was the same man that you passed by yesterday. And the only reason he remembers you is because you really, really gave him kind of like a funny stare, even though it wasn't long. And then you looked off. And you kind of, the way you looked, we read expressions. The way you looked was kind of like, ugh. But you see him today, just the next day or the next week. And he looks like a movie star, fresh off the set of some movie. A lot of us will give them more respect. Now, some people will say, well, no, they're not as good. They're no better than me. Yeah, you'll say that. But if you saw that homeless guy yesterday, had no clue because his hat was kind of pulled down, didn't know he was all disheveled, had a beard and all this kind of stuff, and you saw him the next day or the next week, he's not pushing that Target cart. He's a limo. He's in a limo. He's in a Lambo. He's in whatever he's in. He could be in a Toyota Corolla. But he's nice. Car looks nice. Well groomed. And you give him a look that's totally different from what you gave him yesterday. You'll give him a look of maybe respect, maybe a look of being impressed. It'll be positive. There will be no question that it's positive. And then he says, well, hey, you were the lady that passed by me yesterday in the white Yukon or whatever. And you kind of made me feel bad because you looked at me and I could see disgust in your eyes or in your expression. Guess what? I met a lady not an hour later, and she's the lady that has me looking like I'm looking today. Now, I'm not saying that to say ladies go out there and find a man and fix him up, men go out there and find a woman and fix him up. I'm just saying when it comes to respect, everyone is due respect. And we as humans, though many of us who say we respect everybody, sometimes there's going to be something about somebody who's going to command a little bit more respect. So it could be words. Words hold power. Looks, expressions hold power. So be careful with the words that you use with people. Be careful with the expressions that you shoot at people or that you throw at people. I'll say it, you throw. That you throw at people. Just be careful with them. And then the same way that you're looking at somebody today because of what you think they have or don't have, someone can look at you within an hour later and you may still be looking the same way you've looked all day, but they may look at you and feel like you're beneath them because that's what you've done. When you see someone who's, like I said, pushing that Walmart cart, that Target cart, and you kind of like, think about it. How many steps above him are you? Like, how many steps ahead of him are you? How many steps ahead of her are you? So just because you're ahead, do you give them a look of disdain? Well, what about celebrity comes to town? You pull up at the gas station. There's only one pump there. Celebrity says, hey, I'm in a hurry. I need you to let me get this pump. A little bit more interaction happened. But for him to tell you that and to approach you out of all other people, he'll approach you because you were the only one pulling up at the time to the last pump and everybody else was already pumping gas? Or did he approach you that way because he feels like he's better than you and you're supposed to let him pump his gas because he's a celebrity and he's just in town for a concert and he's got to go? So we just have to be careful with the things that we say to people and how we treat people and how we allow people to treat us. How we allow people to treat us. We have to be careful with that. Sonya says, right. I think it's, oh yeah. Yep, holding that power. Yes, words, words, words. Words hold power. This is the last street light that's still on this street. Well, the other one just went out because it was on. And now this is the only one down on this particular end that's on. So I would be in trouble, right? I would be in trouble because mom would be like, you better come home before the street light comes on. So I gotta get I gotta get in because the street lights are on. You get in trouble when the street lights beat you. Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get in trouble. So I guess that's it for this Let's Walk and Talk Live, y'all. Let's Walk and Talk Wednesday Tiks. If you come across this live replay, please leave in the comment section what makes you tick. What gives you a tick? You know? What gives you a tick? Whether it's in a good way, a bad way. And some things, like I said, they don't really bother you one way or the other. They're kind of neutral. But maybe you know that they, bother someone else. So sometimes that can be a little bit, put a little bad taste in your mouth. And so that was the thing with TikTok. It really doesn't bother me what they do with it. Now, if I jump on there tonight and decide, okay, I like this, then I'm going to be more concerned with what Congress does. So I know a lot of people love it. It's a stream of income for a lot of people. So, yeah. I hope that it all works out and that it doesn't reach, well, it's already passed the House, so it will go to the Senate. But again, the Senate is going to do a lot of things with it. It may not, the Senate may critique it so bad, so much, till the House may be like, you know what, forget it. And then it has to be signed into law. It has to be signed. So we don't know if it's going to get out of the Senate. We don't know if the president is going to sign it. But I do think that the bigger picture is control. Control. And though we live in a nation that we're supposed to be free, there are controls in place. There are rules and regulations, laws and bills. And there should be. Freedom should be to, a certain degree. But freedom of certain things has to be regulated. Because if not, people would really wild out. Because people are already wilding out. So, they're already doing it. They're already wilding out. So on that note, I'm going to wish you guys peace, positivity, and prosperity. Without peace, there's chaos. That's why we need some regulations. Without positivity, there's negativity. And wherever you have negativity and chaos, you fail to prosper to your fullest potential. We want you guys to prosper to your fullest potential. I want to prosper to my fullest potential, and I wish that we all do so. Don't leave any place with more stress than you went into that place with, be it church, be it work, be it an app, be it your home, wherever you are, wherever you go. If you find yourself becoming more stressed, leave. Leave if you can, leave. Don't let people bother you. And I will see you guys on the next Let's Walk and Talk live video. Bye, y'all.